Hey, welcome back. I appreciate you joining me. Cowboy Ron here tonight. I want to talk about the stock markets going down for 3 days, about 3,000 points. And like other small investors, it's so easy to panic and give your money away to the sharks. So this could be a correction. And a correction to a layman is basically when the stocks go down 10% for 2 quarters against the average. There's some other ways of figuring it, but we'll stick with that. Little history, the Great Depression, 1929, my dad and my grandmother, my uncle all lived through it. It was a horrible experience. But people that didn't panic and kept the stocks, General Motors and AT&T and good quality stocks, they got their money back. They had to wait a long time, and excuse me, nose is itching. So let me tell you a little bit about the Great Depression. I read up on it a little bit. Warren Buffett, we all know who he is. He just reduced his holdings of Apple by 50%. But in his book, he got a lot of his strategies from a gentleman by the name of Graham. He was an economist, and he's the one that developed the theory of buying undervalued stocks. If you got something good like Walmart and it should be selling for, say, $50 a share, and for some reason it's selling at $30, he would grab it up. But he's got famous by analyzing the Great Depression. Now, during the Great Depression, a depression is when approximately 25%, or better said, 1 out of 4 people is not without work. And it was almost 25% during those days. And what he figured it out was it was 4 things. Too much exuberation, too much leveraging, the factories had an abundance of inventory, and there was some cheating going on, thievery going on. So let's talk about leveraging. In those days, you could buy stock, I believe, for about 5% down. You buy it on margin. So in other words, just say you were a poor man and you had $100. Well, at 5%, you could buy $2,000 worth of stock. Okay, stock market was going up. So his $2,000 worth of stock all of a sudden is now worth $4,000. Well, he's got another $2,500 to play around with. So that's almost $50,000 worth of stock he could buy. And people were borrowing on his stocks, thinking it was never going to go down. The other thing, of course, it was too much exuberance. Everybody thought they were going to get rich. And just too much inventory sitting in the factories. So that's what caused the Great Depression. And people get sucked in all the time, and I guess I've done it too upon occasions. But people, okay, a good example, I got involved in the internet bubble. Now, I got out, it went up from quite a bit, from just a small investment, $5,000, on up just way beyond more money I'd ever seen. But I did get out, not at the right time. I lost about 20% of what I could have had, but I walked away with much more than I ever dreamed of. People you see on television, they invested in the oil markets and thinking it would never go down. In stock markets, it goes up, it comes down, it goes down, it goes back up. And skilled investors can figure out how to do this. Now, I was going to mention something else on the stock markets. Okay, let's get back to where we are today. Are we going to suffer too long Well, at least until President Trump gets back into office. You see, we're suffering with inflation now. Some people made money with inflation. If you had a $500,000 house and now it's worth $700,000, if you sold it, you made money. But what caused this inflation, by most part, was the Biden administration just spending money on everything. The where's I got it right here someplace. Yeah, the Inflation Reduction Act. Well, that was going to reduce by inflation by giving people money. And 2 years ago, that was approaching $1 trillion. It's probably up to $2 trillion now. Oil. We've got to have oil. I mean, we got shirts that's made out of petroleum. We've got to run machinery. And I can remember when I came west, we had an oil crisis. I was pulling a horse trailer with a 8-cylinder truck. Of course, every time I stopped, big bucks went in that truck. Okay, let's take oil going from gasoline going from, say, $2.50 a gallon to say $4.50 or $5. Well, in my case, when I got back home, I drove 140 miles a day back and forth to work. So if I'd added, in the summertime when I worked a lot, if I'd added $10 a day traveling, I worked 25 days a month, that was $250 less discretionary spending that me and my wife had. For example, we wouldn't go out to the Golden Corral or Denny's quite as much. And don't forget, when we went to Golden Corral, Denny's, we would give the waitress a good tip. Well earned, I might say. They work hard for their money. But don't forget that tip she didn't get it. That was less money that she had to stop maybe buy a few things on the way home. So we're going to have to start drilling. We're going to have to start being realistic. And I do believe that when President Trump gets reelected, things can change. It's going to be harder now. During the last time when Trump came in, come on, camera. During the last time when Trump came in, our economy was sort of stagnant. It wasn't going forward. It wasn't going backwards. President Obama called it the new normal. Okay. I got emotion centralized. So think carefully before you start selling off. Now what professionals will consider this is a buying opportunity. And I believe that's right. The only thing you got to do is figure out what the bottom line is. So until next time, Cowboy Ron, enjoyed spending my time with you. Have a nice evening.